Good morning, grade 9 students, and welcome again to our class. This is already week 7, and this will be our second to the last topic for the first quarter. So, I hope you're excited. We are already finishing our first quarter. So, I hope na, malipay mo ana, the fact nga, hi, salamat, happy to get mo. Tulo na lang ka quarter. So, padayon lang gyapon ta, okay? So, our topic for today, as what you can see here, is what we call using conditionals. Now, unsa dining conditionals? What are conditionals? Okay, so this will be part of our lesson outline. Our first outline, the first topic in our outline is what is a conditional. So we will talk what a conditional is, and then we will go to the types of conditionals. So there are 4 types of conditionals which we will be talking about later on. Okay? Now, what are conditionals? Unsay mga condition? Now, conditionals are statements expressing the result of a particular condition. So, you are giving a condition, and then you will also present the result. So, basically, there's a particular condition, and then naay result. Okay? Now, if clause and when clause. Now, if clause is permini natong gamiton sa tanan conditionals. Now, when clause only a few kanang conditionals, okay? And if and when clause presents the condition, kung say condition, while the main clause or ang clause nga walay if o when explains the results. But I hope you know what the clause is, di ba? Clause has a subject and a verb, di ba? Then natay dependent clause or independent clause. So I hope you still remember that, okay? See, so again, the if and when clause presents the condition, while the main clause explains the results. So, unsay nahitabo? Ang if ug when clause, iyang gihatag ang condition, while ang main clause explains the results. Okay? So, let's go to our first conditional, which is the zero. Okay? So, we have zero conditional. Now, this conditional is used when the results will always happen. So, this deals with habits and general truths such as law. So, ang kanisiya, kaning zero conditional children, it always happens. Ihatag ni mo ang condition, and it always happens. Let's say, for example, kuan. I hope this is clear ha. It always happens. Muhatag ang condition, and it always happens. If it always happens, it's a zero conditional. Okay? Let's have a few examples para makita ninyo. And this is also how we write. This is how we write a zero conditional. So the formula, mura nagmat si sir, kaya formula na. The formula of a zero conditional is the if and when clause plus the present simple tense of a verb, and then ang main clause niya is formed by the simple present tense. They are the present simple tense of the verb. Let's say, for example, here, the sentence is, when you pray, God listens. So, ang ato ang kung ang ato ang when clause diri is when you pray, diba? When you pray, and pray there is in simple present tense. Thus, ang main clause pod dapat pod siya simple present tense because it always happens, diba? It always happens when we pray, God listens. Okay? It doesn't mean lang yun nga yes pero may ang tubag sa Ginoo. It may be a yes, it may be a no, it may be a wait. Okay? Wait. So, or not now. Oh, not now. Okay? So, so when we pray, God listens. It always happens. Of course, dili man gud mo, the Lord will not fail. So when we pray, God listens. Okay? So that's the condition. The condition is when we pray. When you pray, the main clause is God listens. So they both use the simple present tense of the verb. Okay? Now, another example is here. If na pala itong gamiton. Now, if water reaches 100 degrees, it boils. Diba this is truth? This is truth, diba? So if water reaches 100 degrees, mo boil gud siya. That's truth. We cannot it always happens. So if a thing always happens, then it is a zero conditional. Dapat zero ang iyang conditional. So it uses the if and when clause plus the present simple tense. Dayan ang iyang main clause is the present simple tense. Okay? So, we have here, if water reaches 100 degrees, it boils. Okay? So, That's zero conditional. Now, ang kani nga format, pwede na itong mabali. We can reverse this one. Nga pwede maguna atong main clause, then sunod ang condition, just like in this example. Our example is this one. The road closes if it is already curfew time. So, gibali na to. Di ba sa ato ang una, the first two examples that we have, atong giuna ang if and when clause. But in this example, we put it on the last part of the sentence. So the sentence basically, the road closes, the main clause, if it is already curfew time, which is the condition. Okay, so it's still present simple tense ang gigamit sa duha, sa main clause o sa condition. Okay? So I hope klaro ra ang zero condition. Remember, zero condition always happens. The condition, you will give the condition and it always happens. Okay? It's a rule or it's a general truth. Okay? Now let's go to the first conditional. Okay? The first conditional is used to talk about things which might happen in the future. There's a big possibility na mahitabo na in the future. Now, of course, we can't know what will happen in the future, but this describes possible things which could easily come true. So, these things did not happen, but it might happen, and dako og chance, there's a big chance that it might happen. So, it is used in dealing with things that are possibly or likely to happen in the future. Okay, so possibly or likely to happen in this year. Okay, so that is our first conditional. Okay, so we have our examples. Again, remember possibly, it will possibly happen. Dako ang chance nga mahitabo siya. Let's say for example here, if I study today, and this is how the structure is, okay? If I study today, I'll get high scores. So atong formula for the first conditional is the if and when clause plus the simple present tense. So wala na usab sa condition. But when we go to the main clause already, if mahitabo, if there's a big possibility that it might happen, therefore it's first conditional, then mugamit ta og will plus the infinitive. Infinitive or the bare form of the verb. So walay es, walay ed. Okay? So ang basic form lang yun sa verb. Okay? So let's say for example here, if I study today, I'll get high scores. So the condition here in this sentence is if I study today. So if I study today, that's our condition. Atong main clause, I'll get high scores. Okay? So, I hope klaro ra siya. Again, ang formula niya, if and when clause plus the present simple tense. And then, ang main clause will be the will plus infinitive. So, I will get high scores. Okay? Another example is when we use when. Okay? When I am done with this, I will fetch you. So, ato ang condition is when I am done. So, we can use the when clause here. So, when I am done, and am there is the present simple tense. When I am done with this, the will naman, the main clause is, I will fetch you. So, I will, dayon ang basic form sa verb, ang bare form sa verb, which is fetch. Dili fetches, dili fetched, past tense, but only fetch. That's the basic form of the verb. Okay? So the sentence goes, when I am done with this, the condition, the main clause, I will fetch you. Okay? Now let's go to the inverted. How does it look if maguna ang main clause, dayon ang condition dayon? So here it goes. She'll miss the bus, or she will miss the bus if she does not leave soon. Okay? So, ang main clause diri is she'll miss the bus or she will miss the bus. So, nagamit siya og will plus the infinitive or the bare form of the verb, which is the miss, plus the if clause. So, if she does not leave, so present simple tense, so does not. Okay? Does leave. Okay? So, present simple tense, that's the condition. Okay? So, I hope klaro pa. Two more conditionals and we are already done with our class today. Next conditional is our second conditional. Now, the second conditional is used in two ways. First, we use it to talk about things in the future, umaabot pa, that are not going to be true. Dili siya mahitabo. It's not gonna happen. Okay? It's not gonna happen. Or, we can use it to talk about something in the present, which is impossible. So that's why it's not true. But because it's not true, dili siya mahitabo. Okay? Let's say for example, magkakamu. Oh, impossible man na. Oh, so dili gyud na mahitabo. Joke ra na ani. Hugot ra ko gamay. Okay? So let's go to the examples of our second conditional. Unsa may gamit? How do we form? What's the formula for our second conditional? So our second conditional looks like this. Okay? So we have the if clause. Now, so second conditional, so good here. From here on, we only use the if clause. Okay? We only use the if clause. So here, if I met the president, which would not happen, dili siya mahitabo. I would say hello. So here we have the if clause plus the past simple tense of the verb. So met. Then ang iyang main clause is would and then plus the infinitive form of the verb. So I would say hello. So if I met the president, which will not probably happen, but Lord, makamit the president, no, I would say hello. So that's our main clause. So that is the format for the second conditional. So let's say for example, if nahita ko hugot, if she crushed me back, I would court her, or I would ask her out. Diba? Diba? I would ask, if she liked me, I would ask her out. So that's second conditional. That's how we form the second conditional, by using the if plus the past simple tense, and followed by would plus the infinitive. Now let's see the inversion. Atong gibali. Giuna na to ang main clause and then the condition. So here's how it goes. Okay? If I were you, so ang past tense niya kay were. Diba? So, if clause plus past simple tense. So, correct na ang condition. Now, let's go to the main clause. The main clause says, I wouldn't go out with that man. So, I wouldn't go out with that man is our main clause. And then, ang formula sa main clause is would plus the infinitive. And then, would, naman tayo gamit rin, would plus the infinitive go. So, I would not, ang kanang not, pwede naman na ito kuhaon kay adverb naman na siya. So, I would not go out with that man. So that is our main clause. Okay? So I hope nasabtan na ato ang second conditional. Lastly, we go to our napili example. We have another example for the second conditional. Okay? I would buy a new phone. Now, this is the atong kuan na giuna na nato ang sorry. Ato lang basahon. Let's read. I would buy a new phone if I received an allowance. So the main clause will be I would buy a new phone. Okay? I would buy a new phone. That's our main clause. But our condition is if I received an allowance. If makadawat ko og bound. If makadawat ko og bound, mupalit ko og cellphone. Now, we all know nga dili ta maka you're not receiving anything. I don't know ha, basin na mo gitagan mo allowance ron, but then most of you I am assuming na wala mo gitagan ng allowance. So kay it won't happen, ang kanang allowance will not happen. So you are using the second conditional because it will not happen. Okay? So if I received an allowance, I would buy a new phone. So pwede ra gid niyo say mabali-bali. Pwede I would buy a new phone if I receive an allowance, or if I receive an allowance, I would buy a new phone. So, pwede rin siya mabali-bali. Okay? So, that's our second conditional. And lastly, we have our third conditional. And the third conditional is used in dealing with things or change in past scenario. So, nahita mo na siya, but then you were wishing that something happened. Something happened nga dili sa likway or kanang different from what happened. Let's say for example, atong basahon tiwas. It's used in dealing with things that are changed in past scenario, yielding to different results. So you were hoping na nanay nahitabo, but you were hoping na lahi ang scenario. So ang kanang scenario mao na ato ang condition. Okay? It's used to describe a situation that did not happen. Kini ha? It did not happen, and to imagine the results of this situation. So you're naghunahuna na kadaan og situation nga wala na hitabo. So mao ni siya ang third conditional. You're thinking of something that did not and will not happen. Okay? And you're just imagining unsa ang results niya. Okay? So let's see the formula for the third conditional. Now, the third conditional is formed sa if clause niya. If ra pud ang pwede na to magamit diri. So remember that one, ha? If only. If clause plus the past perfect tense. I know you know about past perfect tense. How do we form the past perfect tense? When we use had plus the past participle. So here in our example, we have here, if she had studied. Okay? Now that's the condition. So that means, ang kaning si she, wala ni siya nagtuon. But, ugaling lang, just, for example, if she had studied, okay? So that means dili naman ito mabalik. Dili naman ni mabalik ang sentence na itong iskutan. So this is imagining something in the past that we would like to happen, but it did not happen and it will not happen. So if she had studied, she would have passed the exam. So ang ato ang main clause is formed when we put would plus the have plus the past participle. So she would have passed the exam. So the sentence is, if she had studied, she would have passed the exam. Okay? So klaro ra? We'll have another example. Here. If I had not eaten too much, I would not have felt sick. Okay? So that means daghan ko og gikaon. And dili na nako siya mabalik. So I'm just wishing right now that if I had not eaten so much, if wala pa ko ni kaon og daghan, if I had not, so nigamit siya og past perfect nga had eaten. Okay? So if I had not eaten so much, then the main clause is I would have felt sick. So I would not have felt sick. So we have the would, we have the have, and we have the past participle. Okay? Lastly, inverted. Gi-invert na to siya. So what would happen if it's inverted? So here's the sentence. He would have been on time for the interview if he had left the house at 9. Okay? So we have the would, we have the have, and we have the past participle been. So he would have been on time for the interview if he had left the house at 9. So natay had left dira, which is our past perfect tense. Okay? So I hope you understood how to form these conditionals. Okay? So if there are any questions, please give them out to our synchronous class tomorrow, Tuesday. That's a Tuesday. So I hope you will join our synchronous class. I will be explaining more, and if you have any questions regarding the conditionals, you may also ask there. Okay? So please don't forget to answer the exit ticket. The exit ticket is in M-Courser. And then please make sure nga sakto ang inyong email address. You're putting the correct email address so that I can send it properly to you. Dili masaag ang email. Okay? So thank you everyone for watching. Have a good day.